Hello and welcome to the Global Church Project. I'm Graham Hill. Mahendra Bhattarai has been working as a development consultant in Nepal and throughout Asia for many years. Mahendra is pastor of Aashis Presbyterian Church in Nepal. He's been National Director of Habitat for Humanity and also been a consultant in many UN projects. He was part of the National Planning Commission of Nepal. But most of all, he's known for his love for the gospel and for his passion to see the Nepalese church grow and thrive. Mahendra Bhattarai, welcome to the Global Church Project.
Thank you.
The church has an interesting history in Nepal.
Yes.
Can you give us a bit of a summary of the way church has existed in Nepal and the kind of mission activities it's been involved in too?
Okay. The Protestant church in Nepal started in early 50s by missionaries who were working in India. And yes, it was easier for them to move into Nepal from India. And then United Mission to Nepal was started, and a little bit before that, International Nepal Fellowship was started. And the idea was not necessarily a direct evangelization, but to help the needy. That's how it started, to be a witness of Christ, to demonstrate love and grace. That was possible, whatever amount, whatever degree that was possible. But the missionaries were not really planting churches. They don't do even either. It's done by Nepalese. Of course, missionaries were attending Nepali churches, so they were giving their thoughts, their experiences. They were sharing that with Nepalese, and Nepalese then took that and did what was possible from their own scope and limitations. That's how Nepali churches started. So churches in Nepal didn't start. Was not started by missionaries. Missionaries were helping the needy, yes, but church planting was done by Nepalese themselves. The mission work that most Nepalese are now doing is to some extent helping the needy, but most of our church work is just talking about the gospel of Christ.
What's unique about the way in which the Nepalese church expresses worship and faith?
Yeah, Nepalese we are very expressive. And one of the uniqueness is that, of course, we have denominations. I come from a particular denomination. My friends are from particular denominations. And there are some non-denominationals also. And there are some ecumenical and interdenominational also. But our worship, our commitment to Christ is very similar, irrespective of what denomination group we might be from. So that is, I think, uniqueness. And we have had the benefit of learning from the Westerners, both from their weaknesses and from their strengths. We have seen in the West, this denomination is sort of strong where it is. Yes, of course, denomination is strong in Nepal, and yet we mix, and sometimes people wouldn't be able to tell between the Pentecostals and the Presbyterians. Sometimes I say Bapticostal, or sometimes I say Presbycostal or Methodicostal. Well, it's for humor, but the uniqueness seriously is that our worship style and our church organization style is very, very similar.
And you've been a pastor for a long time as well.
Yes,
Can you tell us something about your pastoral ministry?
Yeah, I was ordained in 2002, but before that I was already involved in church planting. As a pastor, yes, my first work is, of course, talking and explaining about the gospel, preaching both in church and outside. But also I'm one of those new kind of pastors where I go about talking with non-Christians, talking about Christ with non-Christians and even other religious people who are not non-Christian religion, non-Christian faith. And I let them know that yes, I'm a Christian and I can talk with them in their own languages, in their own words. So trying to bring about a sense of friendship and harmony with non-Christians too. So as a pastor, also I do that because I believe that Christ came not just for Christians. Christ came for everybody.
What do you do as a development consultant?
Well, the last big thing I did it's been a long time now, was I wrote the draft plan for forgiveness and reconstruction and rehabilitation for the government of Nepal. Immediately after kind of peace was brought in when the extreme communists stopped killing people. So I wrote the first peace and reconstruction draft plan for the government. So it was for Planning Commission of Nepal, who would then take that matter into the Ministry of Peace and Reconstruction. That was the last big thing I did. And otherwise I do impact studies, I do evaluations, organizational evaluations, I do planning. And right at this stage, I'm the national coordinator for Christian Commitment to Building New Nepal. It's a group of churches coming together working on 7 issues: violence against women and corruption, and we have caste discrimination in Nepal. Then I've also added disabilities and religious tolerance, education. So these are the issues that I work on with church pastors, Christian leaders, church leaders for advocacy, but it's a positive and soft kind of advocacy, so that it's a socio-economic advocacy. We are not fighting or doing advocacy against anyone, but we are teaching, training our pastors to take up these issues in their churches, so that our people can cope and reduce the problems that we have. For example, violence against women, corruption, the poor education we have. And another big problem that I'm working with in advocacy is unemployment. Every day, some 1,000 to 1,500 young people, youth, go out to work in the Middle East, and they end up working in just ordinary work, ordinary laborer work. They are very intelligent people, but because they don't have jobs, they go out and do things that they may not like doing, and that way their potential and their intellectual abilities are not really used for the benefit of Nepal. So I'm saying that this unemployment is a big problem, and let's do something about it. So these are the kind of work that I'm involved in. But still, as I introduce myself as a pastor, and I say as a pastor, I have that kind of pastoral work also, and not just traditional pastoral work. Yeah.
You also work in agricultural development too, I think.
Yes, I started, my basic training was in agricultural science, and I started as a trainer in agriculture, initially for the government. Then I helped establish research and development and training farm. At that time, it was supported by the British government in a remote area in Nepal. And then, I gradually from agriculture, I gradually went into. You see, what happened was, when we do agriculture, we talk about irrigation also, or in our area. And when you talk about irrigation, you get competition from water supply for drinking water, because the source is same in the hills. So you have agriculture. When you are talking about crops, you are talking about fodder trees for animal, because our farms are mixed. You have animal and you have crops, and like that. And then we talk about irrigation for the crops. Then we talk about competing with water supply for people. So gradually I got involved in agriculture, forestry, irrigation, water supply, road making, etc., etc. So I got into what was then called integrated rural development. Then I got into, integrated rural development was not enough. You need to have political development. So I started getting involved with political planning, which involved planning for different districts, different areas of Nepal. Because at the end of the day, agriculture, whatever you do, is for the benefit of the human being. And of course, to glorify God. So what happened was I ended up doing planning for area which involved housing. Because you're talking about people. So starting from agriculture, I gradually got involved with planning for peace and reconciliation. So that's how it all started. And that's how it exists now.
And how do you work with the government in peace and reconciliation issues?
Okay. The ministry has its own plans, but now at the moment I'm not working with the ministry. There's a Ministry of Peace and Reconciliation. They are working more with people who are agitating, people who are trying to do against the government and taking arms and underground kind of, that I gradually I got out of that. But what we said was, with the help of United missionary who originally came from Northern Ireland, with his thought, with his ideas, I went about establishing peace committees in the districts, in the villages. And these peace committees were part of the local government. So we started from the bottom. And I thought peace should be in the individuals and the people. Talking about peace at a higher ministry level, fine, that is needed, somebody has to do it, and that needs to be done. But I started with ground level and establishing peace committees, and they were the ones who were doing it, not me. I was only helping them. So I was training them, these people. I'm still training them, and also get Christians to get involved in these peace committees. Because previously the Christians still are kind of marginalized by non-Christians and majority other religion people. So I said to Christians, okay, there's a peace committee. If you really believe in peace of God that is given to you and for the rest of the people, go there and just go and be useful, be helpful. And some of them are in the peace committee. So that's how I work towards helping the government, not antagonizing them, not saying that they are not doing enough, etc., etc. So just encouraging our people, Christian leaders, to go and work, involved with non-Christians, involved with interfaith people. You don't have to compromise your faith when you are working with non-Christian. And I say to the other people also, those who are non-Christian, well, if you think that you are good and, well, keep to what you think. Well, I personally think I am, different. I believe in Christ. But whatever you do, I have no quarrel with you. But just be as good as you are expected to be in what you believe. So they don't feel kind of antagonized. They don't feel that I'm against them. And that way, they become helpful to us. Yeah, that's how I work.
You've also been involved in freedom of religion issues too, I think. You can describe...
You've done some research on me, okay? Yes, yes. You see, Christians are free people. But in Nepal, we are accused of all sorts of things that we have not done. We don't do. Yes, of course, we want people to listen to the gospel. We talk about the gospel. We talk about Christ. And yes, of course, we want people to come and become disciple of Christ. Yes. But we are not doing it as far as I know. We are not doing it forcefully, etc. So we are accused that we are proselytizing and enticements, etc., etc. That's one part. Another part is, suppose you like making films, you are doing this research work, this research studies, etc. You have your belief, you have your hypothesis when you are doing a research. Now, if you believe in something, how can I tell you forcefully not to believe whatever you believe? You see, belief, faith comes from the soul. It comes from the internal deep place of you. Okay. Now, as soon as I say, you are wrong, Graham, what am I doing? I am not respecting you. You may be wrong. You may be wrong. But I should respect you even if you are wrong. Because that is in your soul, and I cannot tell you you are wrong just like that. Yeah. So, you should be allowed to be free. And when you are free, then you can see things. When you feel free, then you can see things in their correct perspectives as you see them, not as I see them. So you should be allowed to be free. And freedom then keeps the peace. Now, freedom doesn't mean you can do anything, you can kill others, or you can, no, that's not freedom. So that is why I believe in freedom. And I have talked in the television, I have written letters to newspapers, I have written articles, So it doesn't matter if you're a Hindu or a Muslim or a Buddhist. And you should be allowed to be professing your faith.
And do you think that this idea of freedom of religion is embraced widely in Nepal, or is it a new idea?
No, it's a relatively new idea. When you have majority of the people in Nepal are Hindus, and they are like, some of them may not be practicing fundamentalists, but there are some who are fundamentalists. And it's a very hierarchical, and in the practical day-to-day life, I mean, there are Hindu scholars, there are Hindu great people, academics, Hindu religion academics, great people. Oh, I love them. I respect them of their wisdom.
What do you think are some of the greatest challenges facing the church today?
Education is poor among Christians, and we still need to work on peace. Still, we need to work for peace. Majority of the Christians are poor, and we need to work on peace. Poverty and peace do not go well together. So we need to promote peace. That's our greatest challenge.
How do you define integral mission?
Well, you can academize it, you can theologize it, but in my own opinion, it's come down to looking after people in their entirety, in their completeness. So it's not just the gospel, it's not just the Bible, it's not just love, it's not just grace, but it is looking after people for their whole existence, for a healthy existence. It has to be complete, it has to be total. That is, I say, integral. And this should be one connected, one component kind of connected, interlinked, and totally kind of dovetailing and totally kind of immersing one with another. It's not like at one point you're talking about hand and another point you're talking about head. Hand and head, all together. Now this is challenging. And it's not like a pot of salad where every little component is distinctly different and you choose, you're choosing tomato and you're choosing piece of cheese at one point and maybe a cucumber at another point. It is to be totally blended and like whirled and twirled and made into one. So at the end of it, integral mission is like a complete blend where the sense or the essence of individual components may be there, and yet when you are like eating them, it's like you are eating the whole thing and not separately. So when we talk of love, we are loving, and where needed, whatever is needed, we are doing that same time. And it may not be like concrete and visible, the complete thing at the same time, but there is lots and lots and lots of factors and variants in it, but you don't see them individually, separately.
That's a great image, because often when we talk about holistic or integral mission, we talk about social justice, social action, evangelism, as though they're sitting together, but almost like they're not the same thing, whereas you're talking about a much more interwoven...
Totally. Yeah. And also so much so that sometimes it may not be visible, but it's active.
Yeah.
It's like kind of, if you compare it with a medicine, you take a tablet, there may be so many things in it, but you see only the tablet. But inside, there's a lot of other ingredients. So it should be all blended, all mixed. And we don't need to, so well, let's make social justice more visible than maybe a welfare scheme or maybe some feeding scheme. No, it should be all together. So when I say I'm integral mission character or person, I should encompass, I should carry with me all that is needed. And we shouldn't say integral mission means such and such a listed. Maybe if we can separate the factors, or if we individualize the components, the contents, then it may be different. For example, in Australia, you may need only 10 components, whatever may be needed, but in Nepal it may be 12. So because you don't have that 12 components that we have in Nepal, it doesn't mean that your integral mission is not complete. Sometimes integral mission can be complete within, say, 3 factors or 2 factors, sometimes even 1 factor. So it's not how many factors or how many components, how many elements, subjects you have in it. It's what is needed there at that time for that target or for that group, for that situation. So integral mission is whatever is needed, do it completely. Not you don't have to add to it even when it's not needed, because you might be doing, suppose, feeding the poor program, for example. If that is complete and that serves the whole purpose, and just by having one feeding program, it gives them the completeness. And if that was lacking, you put it in, well, you have completed it. So just because there is only one component, it doesn't mean that you are not doing integral mission. But integral mission, I also look at it like that, Of course, in our countries, in developing countries, we need a number of elements, a number of components to make it whole. But we shouldn't say, okay, we should have 7 elements to integral mission. No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. Just make it whole.
What are some of the key things that you see God doing in the church in Nepal today?
I think God is telling Nepali churches that you should be, or Nepalis should be, looking after, taking care of each other with love, and in a way that the person feels happy and connected with God, to bring about the changes that God wants in Nepal, to glorify God. I mean, if I say to glorify God in Nepal, well, that's very, that answer we have had for a long time, that's repetitive, But caring to bring about peace and caring to make this person feel whole and complete. So he does feel and acts whole and complete. And this brings peace and prosperity of the kind that God wants, spiritual prosperity. Meaning, just good people, God's people, with love and care. That is what Nepali churches should be doing and are trying to do. Of course, in day-to-day activities, sometimes we forget that. It's like forgetting the woods from the trees or trees from the woods. It happens, but we are reminding ourselves time to time, periodically, that look, a forest is a big forest and it's a complete forest, and without a tree there is no forest. And if there is no forest, a single tree can be damaged easily. So it's love, care, and to let people to be a whole, complete human being, so that he or she can take care of others also.
Mahendra Bhattarai, thank you for joining us at the Global Church Project.
Pleasure, sir.
The Global Church Project is located at www.theglobalchurchproject.com. On our website you'll find a wide range of interviews and resources for colleges, universities and churches. I look forward to your company next time. From me, goodbye.